proud to have Tony Strickland here today. And Tony, welcome to our brand new studio, okay? Here is
fantastic studio, and thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
You know, it's really something that, we're looking at KADYTV.com as literally the media source that's going to be able to offer some of the real news to some of the viewers that are here. So to start that off, it's such a pleasure having you here. The thing that we'd like to do is start off in a couple of seconds, make sure talk about the family and, how you were brought up. We were talking beforehand, so.
My dad was a drill sergeant, and a lot of people talk about heroes in life, drill sergeant. So you can imagine what it was like as a little kid growing up as a dad for a drill sergeant. But every minute I was late when I was a kid, I was granted a week.
Wow.
And I never got time off for good behavior. On top of that, my friends used to call my home Strickland. A lot of my friends were scared of my dad. In some ways, I'm scared of my dad every now and then. But deep respect for my dad. But what my dad has always taught me was it's up to every generation to leave your city, state, and nation in a better spot than what you found. And so my upbringing is very disciplined for my family. And my mom's an immigrant from Germany. My mom met my dad when he was stationed over in Germany. And I'm just a very lucky individual to have two wonderful parents. And I grew up here in Ventura County. I'm a Ventura County product. When my dad retired from the military back in 1973, he moved to Simi Valley. I grew up in Simi Valley, lived in Thousand Oaks and Moore Park, and so I'm a Ventura County native.
Well, then we're just about the same time in California. Were you sort of an Army brat during the years when he was and been around in a lot of different dresses in your early years?
No. For me, my older sister, my older brother moved around a lot. But for me, my dad retired from the military. He served over 20 years when I was relatively young. Obviously, I was 3 or 4 years old, and so when we moved to Ventura County, I didn't move around a lot like Army brats normally do. But my dad brought in discipline. There's no question. I played all sports that you can imagine when I was a little kid. I was a pretty good athlete, and I'll never forget this.
Still are, aren't you?
Yeah, I still yeah. But I'll never forget this. When my dad says, "Hey, you need to get a job," and I said, "Well, Dad, I'm doing really well. You said we might get a scholarship in basketball, and there's no job out there that I can actually that will conflict with practices." And he goes, "Oh, I'll get you a job." So the first job I had was washing wheelchairs at a nursing home. In the middle of the night, going in the nursing home, picking up the wheelchairs, washing them, and it really brought me discipline and learned the value of $1. And so just always very grateful for my father, because it certainly wouldn't have been in the State Assembly or State Senate without him being a role model, and my mom as well.
Well, that is probably the biggest thing that is happening today. You're starting to see some of the families starting to become families, hopefully again. And as we get the message out that everybody can be a good family, I think we're going to be a better society for it. But anyway, getting back to you, so you grew up in Simi Valley, and did you play any other sports other than basketball?
I played everything that you can imagine. I played baseball, Little League baseball. I played basketball. I was a very good bowler, actually. I went to bowling tournaments when I was a little kid. In fact, we were a traveling team from Simi Valley, and one of the kids on our team, Robbie Smith, ended up being a PBA bowler, professional bowler, and we were right at the same level. So I played well in soccer. I was a good soccer player. My brother was all-state, all-CIF soccer player. So, when I was a little kid, I was the youngest. I was a tag-along. My brother, I'm extremely close to my brother, and I got to tag along with his friends who were 4 years older. And so I used to play every sport under the sun.
Makes you stronger. Now you understand what competition is. It's winning.
Oh, no question. In fact, I'm a very competitive individual, and my brother is as well. I'll never forget the time when I was playing with my brother and his friends. We lost because I missed a shot. My brother made me walk home.
Oh,
That's a lesson. But my brother is someone I always respected, and very good to this day. I'm just very close.
Your parents have done a great job.
Thank you.
A good start.
Thank you.
Now, in high school, you were in Simi Valley. You went to Royal High.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had one of the biggest honors. I've been very blessed, but one of the biggest honors I've ever received was Royal High School. Actually, retired my jersey. And I'm very proud to be a product of Royal High School. And I grew up with a gentleman by the name of Don McLean. We played traveling leagues when we were little kids. We were in the same junior high team in Hillside Junior High. He went to senior high. I went to Royal. I really, I've just been so lucky. And the reason why I want to run for office is I think it's up to every generation, again, to leave your city and community in a better spot than what you found. And then I look at my two beautiful children. My little girl, Ruby Ruth, is 6 years old. She just lost her two front teeth. She has a beautiful smile, and she's daddy's little girl, no question. And my boy, we call him Tiny Tony, he's 4. I want them to grow up in Ventura County. I want them to grow up in California where they have the same opportunities as I had.
Yeah, I to share with you as an entrepreneur, one of the reasons of moving to California was I always knew that at that time it was a great school system, and no matter what happened, my kids would get a great education. We've got to work back towards that. And I think we'll talk about that in the second segment, okay?
Yeah, and I couldn't agree with you more. And again, strong education gives you more opportunities moving forward.
Unbelievable. But then you went on to Whittier College where you had a chance to play.
No, it was. I got an internship with a local state center. I was president of a lot of different groups on campus. I got the Leadership and Service Award for being active in the community. And I got to play basketball at Whittier, and it was a tremendous experience. I have the all-time field goal record there for the most field goals in a game. And it was just, I've been so very fortunate and lucky. Through hard work, there's no question. I was always the hardest worker in practice. And I like to think I have a good, strong work ethic, and I think luck comes to those who work hard.
Well, now the rest of the life, I mean, we talked about the kids. Certainly there has to be a good wife that's in that mix with you, too, isn't it?
Yeah, I have such a beautiful wife.
When did you get married?
We actually got married back in 1997, and we're coming up on our 15th anniversary in October. Really excited. I can't believe that 15 years has gone so fast. But Audra has just been so supportive. It's obviously tough with a family when you run for office and when you're in Sacramento with the job in the state senate to have someone like Audra who's been very supportive. When you run for office, no matter who runs for office, you need the family behind you. And Audra's just been remarkable in terms of her support, and I'm just very lucky to call her my wife.
Undoubtedly, you're a lucky man, okay, and I use the term blessed, okay. So we're going to take a short break right now, and then we'll be back in the next segment where I'd like to talk about how you got into politics.
Great.
Okay?
Great.
And welcome back. We're here with Tony Strickland. And Tony, we got through the beautiful personal, life, and I know that Byron probably put that beautiful picture up of Audra and the 2 children and yourself, and that is what family life really is all about. So now that you've had to give up what other people don't have to give up in family life, how did you get into politics? What drove you? I've
always been a student of history. I love history, but what really got me involved was in 4th grade at Senior Elementary School. I was given the assignment by my teacher to beat Ronald Reagan. We were up in the 1980 presidential election, and Ronald Reagan was running against John Anderson and Jimmy Carter, and I gave a speech for President Reagan, at the time Governor Reagan, in my classroom, won my classroom vote, and I thought that was pretty neat. So Reagan won my classroom vote. I was very excited. I was someone who admired President Reagan, even at a young age. I went to my parents who were not politically active at all. I said, I want to get involved. And again, supportive parents, they said, they thought I was crazy, one. But then they dropped me off to the headquarters of a guy who was running for state assembly for the first time. That guy, whose name was Tom McClintock. And so when I was very young, I was handwriting signs for Tom. And fast forward, I ended up working on Tom's campaigns. I ended up being his campaign manager at one point, his chief of staff. And then one of the biggest thrills was I actually got in. I grew up in Ventura County. It was an open seat. And I was very eager to hopefully serve. And so I announced when I was, I think, just 26 years old, almost 27. And I had a great shoestring campaign. I was walking door to door. And I worked very hard and met voters eye to eye, as I still do to this day. And told them that I wanted to serve the community up in Sacramento and make a difference. And we were very fortunate to win. If I had a nickel for every person that said that you're too young, you can't get elected, I would have been able to fund my campaign. but we were able to walk and earn that trust among the people of Ventura County to go up and make a difference in the state assembly. I think I'm very proud of my record, and it just shows you hard work does pay off. And I was, again, to this day in the state senate, every day I walk on the floor, I get goosebumps knowing that I represent so many people here in Ventura County, and I try to do the best job I can to make a difference in our community.
So during the time period, so you've been, 14 years almost in the, share with us a couple of the great experiences that you've had, as we were going along, because certainly some of the difficulties over the last 10 years in California, we've certainly started experiencing,
Right.
Some differences.
Well, I mean, it's hard to pinpoint just a few, but one of the things I'm very proud of, and this is kind of courage under fire, was during the beginning of the energy crisis. At the time, Governor Gray Davis was incredibly popular. People were talking about him being the next president of the United States. He locked the state into these long-term energy contracts, and he used executive privilege to not share what he was spending the money to keep the lights on in the state of California. So I asked him under the Public Records Act to release those documents. He refused. So I took him to court in a lawsuit. People can Google it today, Strickland v. Davis. And I remember like it was yesterday. I walk into my Republican caucus, and a lot of my colleagues on both sides of the aisle said, "Hey, this is the governor of California. You shouldn't go forward with this lawsuit." Put their arm around me, and they said, "Hey, you're going to be in the worst office in the Capitol, doing the political thing. You're going to get every veto of every bill that you have, and you're going to end your political career before it gets going, before it gets started. We think you have a future, but if you go forward with this, you're going to end your career." And at that point, it was a gut check time. But I remember my father, and the reason why I ran was to make a difference and do the right thing. So we went forward in the court case, found out, we won the court case, and we found out Governor Davis locked in these long-term energy contracts, 15, 20-year contracts, that are a higher price than the worst price during that energy crisis. Companies like Enron were fleecing the people, and energy companies had bad PR. They went back and renegotiated those contracts. We saved ratepayers billions of dollars. There's not too many elected officials that can say, through their determination, we're able to save billions of dollars for the people of California.
So basically, also what you're saying is that you had such a belief that you went against standard political practices that you were told.
And I think that's leadership. Leadership starts from you. When you get elected, you have to represent the community and do the best job you can. Obviously, the other thing is to be able to reach across the aisle and work for a common goal. You don't get everything you want. I always tell people, if you want someone to agree with you 100% of the time, you should run for office yourself. Because right now, one thing also I've learned is when you go on the floor of the Assembly or the Senate, this state is so diverse. They come from different backgrounds. They have different life experiences. The really good legislators are the ones that can reach across the aisle and understand their constituencies and their community and be able to find common goals and common threads that move the state forward in a positive way. And the good ones are able to build those relationships. I'm proud I've built a lot of very good friendships and relationships that have made a difference moving forward.
Well, that is the way you get things done. And to the point, I know I did a little research too. Recently, SB 19, I think it was, where you authored a bill that trying to help the constituency here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've been working. And a lot of the ideas I get from my legislation are from the community. I'm out there in the community a lot. I actually copied Jack O'Connell. I don't know if you remember Jack, but Jack was a state senator from the Ventura, Santa Barbara area, and he used to do these card tables and community coffees. He's out there in the community. And I like to say one of the things I'm very proud of, I don't care if you vote for me or not vote for me, I need to earn the trust from everybody. And I think elected officials need to be accessible. And so I've been very proud that I've done mall hours, coffee tables. I'm out there in the community doing community coffees, town hall meetings, because I like to make sure that I'm very accessible. And I also think the best legislators are not the ones that give the best speeches, but the ones that listen and the ones who go in the community. You can't represent a community if you're not out in the community. And so I'm very proud. A lot of bill ideas I get are from the community, and I bring it forward and try to do the best job I can.
Well, it's really, and looking back, you certainly, as you gained the seniority, you've also gained the trust and faith of a lot of your senators up there. So we're going to talk about why you now want to represent the district in the U.S. Congress right after we take a little break. Okay, and now we're returning for the third and last segment, and this is the one that this is really all about, Tony. So, question number one, okay? You are now a candidate amongst, various others in the new 26th district here in California that Elton Gallagher, who's been congressman for 26 years, has announced his retirement. This is also going to be the first open primary where it's not whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or an independent. So it is something a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Tell our viewers, why have you chosen to enter this race?
Well, I think we need strong leadership in Ventura County representing us in Washington, D.C. I do believe that in Washington we're on the wrong track. I think people need to come together. We haven't passed the budget in the federal side in a couple of years. And I'm very concerned, for example, with the deep defense cuts that are being proposed. Right now, 20% of our federal budget is in defense, but 50% of the cuts are in defense. What does that mean here for Ventura County? It means that we have 2 more rounds of a base realignment and closure, and the number one employer in Ventura County is Naval Base Ventura County. And we were on that list in the past, and it would be devastating for the Ventura County if they close down Naval Base Ventura County. One of my top priorities is one, to make sure we protect Naval Base Ventura County. 2, that we're strong. I believe in Ronald Reagan's peace through strength. I believe what's going on in Iran, what's going on in North Korea, what's going on with the Arab Spring, now is not the time to draw down defense. In fact, we need to be strong. And we need to look at where we're sending our foreign aid. Right now, Egypt is talking about not recognizing Israel as a country. That would be devastating, and Israel is one of our greatest allies. We need to start rethinking, are we sending foreign aid to countries that don't like us, that fund terrorist networks? The other part is energy. We don't have an energy plan in the United States. Right now, I think we could be energy independent. One of the biggest problems I see is we're funding both ends of a war. We're sending billions of dollars to countries that don't like us, that fund terrorist networks, when we have abundance of natural resources here at home. I'm one of 3 Republicans that supported the renewable energy standard. I believe in renewable energy and getting behind alternative fuels and alternative energy sources. But we should do everything: wind, wave, solar. We need all forms of energy. And I'm very concerned about the president's cut on the Keystone Pipeline, because that would have enabled us to create jobs when the economy is one of the number one issues facing the voters right now, and the people. People are hurting right now. We need to put people back to work, and instead of sending billions of dollars to countries that don't like us, we should keep that money here at home and put people back to work. And it's good for the environment, it's good for the economy, and it's good for national security.
What are some of the ways, and I can't agree with you more, that I'm a little older than you, so I've seen a couple of other recessions in our lifetime. I've never seen anything like this, okay? I know that when I was going to college, or when I was in high school, my mom came to me, probably like your mom and dad, okay? They had a great influence on my life. But they shared with me that if you don't go to college, you're going to have to go dig ditches. The difference was there was a job to go dig ditches if I didn't go to college. Today, it seems, let's go to college, and now, and I want to bring it up because it's something of concern to me. We saw what happened when we let everybody buy houses without, really being careful that everybody who can afford them was there.
Right.
Now we're forcing everybody to go to college, okay, and we're giving them guarantees, okay, of student loans. The colleges have increased their cost, okay, the students now have to, and the one thing that has been of concern to me is that these are not dischargeable in bankruptcy. In other words, they're due.
Right. Well, you asked a lot of questions in there,
I'm
but one of the things I want to focus in on, and I'd love a follow-up, but what we do right now is we're also not, look, my dad was a maintenance man, and after he retired in the military, there's a lot of people that are just gifted in different ways. When we talk about education, we don't do drafting or metal shop anymore. We need more apprenticeship programs, because there's a lot of great jobs out there that do deal with working with your hands. Not everybody is gifted in the same way. We're not funding arts the way we should. There's a lot of different outlets, and you know, I look at my kids. I try to expose them to everything and see what they like. And I think you can't have this one size fits all to say you have to go this way and this is the career path, this is the only way to go. There's many ways to go, and too many times government is limiting the ability for choices for our kids that might be gifted in one area, but they don't have the exposure in that area. And so I think it's important for people to get a quality education, but it's also important to have the diversity of where they want to go in their life. Again, my dad was a maintenance man, worked with his hands. And there's a lot of people out there that would like to take advantage of metal shop, auto shop. There's a lot of good jobs out there, mechanics and plumbers that make a good living that we don't have right now because we haven't focused in on those kids that are interested in that field.
Okay. And if you are lucky enough to be elected and go back, how is that going to affect, what are you going to, your priorities during your first terms as you go back?
Well, I mentioned a few. My number one priority will be to make sure the Naval Base Ventura County remains open, healthy, and vibrant. That we do what we can to make sure we're strong in terms of national defense. That we have an energy policy, invest in renewable energy and all forms of energy, and be energy independent. I believe in turning around this economy, put people back to work. By the way, those two things would be very positive for Ventura County. And then one of the other large employers in the district is Amgen. I happen to be the lead Republican in health in both in the Assembly and the State Senate. I would like to be involved in Ways and Means Committee and do what we can to have a quality health care. And that means jobs here in Ventura County as well. You know, gas prices are very concerning to me because they fall disproportionately on hard-working California families. Mm-hmm. I think it's wrong for families right now are having to decide between a gallon of milk and a gallon of gas. We need to do what we can to produce more energy to bring those gas prices down because people can't afford it and they can't go to the work if they can't afford the gas to get to work.
How true, how true. Tony, I can only say this will be a memorable experience, at least for me, okay? And I can't wish you anything but the best of luck in your endeavors and what you're trying to do.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for doing this and allowing the constituents to know where they can stand on the issues.
And that's what we certainly want to do.
Thank you.
So, thank you.